Hey there! In today's video, we're going to be going over the 2022-2023 TMSCA General Math Test number 13. Let's do it. Alright, number 41. What is the area of a regular pentagon with a side length of 8 centimeters and a bottom of 6 centimeters? Alright, so first, a regular pentagon, that just means that all sides are congruent in length. Right, so these are all the same length. So that means that this is a side length of 8. This is also 8. This is also 8. This is also 8. And this is also 8. Meaning the perimeter equals 40. And we're already given the apothem, which is 6. And they're trying to get us to find the area, which is represented by a capital A. So the formula for finding the area using the apothem and perimeter is just the apothem times the perimeter divided by 2. So that's just 6 times 40, which is 240, divided by 2. 240 divided by 2 is 120, which means the area of this regular pentagon is 120 centimeters, and that's your answer. Next, number 42. A power 5 times b power 7 divided by a times b to the power of negative 3 times a power negative 3 times b power 4 divided by a power 3 times b power negative 1 times a squared times b to the power negative 2 divided by a times b to the power of 8 equals what? Alright, that's a pretty long problem, but it's actually pretty simple if you break it down. So let's break this down at one piece at a time. So first, we have a power 5 times b power 7 divided by a b to the power of negative 3. Alright, the first thing is, when you have a variable by itself with no power, we can automatically assume that the power is 1. Alright, so in solving this fraction, right, all we have to do is take the term, right? So in this case, we have a, so we can write a here. And for the exponent, we just take the top exponent minus the bottom one. So in this case, 5 minus 1, which would be 4. So we have a power 4. Next, b, and then 7 minus negative 3, which is just 7 plus 3, which is 10. So a power 4 and b power 10. Alright, now let's do this one. A power negative 3, b power 4, a power 3, b power negative 1. Alright, so we have a, and then negative 3 minus 3, which is negative 6. So a power negative 6 times b, and then 4 minus negative 1, which is 4 plus 1, which is 5. So a power negative 6 times b power 5. Now, when you have a negative exponent, right, instead of just keeping it as a negative exponent on top, we can represent this as 1 over a power 6. So that would just be 1 over a power 6 times b power 5, which becomes b power 5 over a power 6. Alright, so now we have a power 4, b power 10, and then b power 5 over a power 6. Alright, now let's move on to the next one, or the last one, I guess. So now we have a squared times b power negative 2 divided by a times b power 8. So again, we can assume that this power right here is 1. So we have the term a, and then we do the subtraction. So 2 minus 1, that gets 1. Alright, so a power 1. So that's just a, really. Okay, next, now we have b power negative 2 minus b power 8. Or in this case, we're not subtracting the b value because we already have the b value. We're just subtracting negative 2 minus 8. Negative 2 minus 8 is just negative 10. Now, here's the thing. Since this is a negative exponent, we can bring it to the bottom again. So this becomes a over b power 10. Alright, so now that we have our three values from each one of these parentheses, next what we need to do is we need to multiply all of these, because these three parentheses are being multiplied. So let's do that. So a power 4 times this a value, right? Because the corresponding values match, or like this, the same value matches, right? So a power 4 times a, which is just a power 1. So when you're multiplying a value with two different exponents, you can just add the exponents. This becomes a power 5. So a power 5, then we can use the same thing here with b, and then 10 plus 5, which is 15. Over, and then on the bottom we have a power 6 and b power 10. Alright, now this is the last one here. So now we have a, so this equals a, and then the a, right? So that's 5 minus 6, which is negative 1. So a power negative 1 and b, which is 15 minus 10 for the exponent, so that's 5. Alright, now we still have a negative exponent here. We cannot have a negative exponent, so you have to put it as a denominator. So this becomes b power 5 over a, and that's your answer. Next, number 43. What is the equation y equals negative 2/3 of x plus 5/6 expressed in standard form? Alright, so we have y equals negative 2 over 3x plus 5 over 6. Now, as you can see, we have two fractions here, the slope and the y-intercept. What we're going to do is we're going to bring these under a common denominator. So we can multiply this fraction by 2 to make it y equals negative 4 over 6x plus 5 over 6. Alright, now this is easy to simplify. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of this denominator right here. And we're going to do that by multiplying the entire thing by 6. So this now becomes 6y equals negative 4x plus 5. And standard form is in the formula ax plus by equals c. So we need to bring this x value over here. So we're just going to add 4x to both sides of the equation. And now it becomes 4x plus 6y equals 5. And that's your answer. Next, number 44. Using interval notation, what is the domain of the function graphed below? Alright, so the domain is just a set of x values. So in this case, when you have like the line with these two dots on the end, the domain is just going to be from what to what is the x value. So starting right here to here. But you also have to use interval notation. What is interval notation? In interval notation, when you write the two numbers, you can either use a curve symbol like this or a straight bracket like this. The curve symbol indicates that it does not include the number. So for example, on this one, right, since there's an empty dot right here, we would use a curve symbol on the left side. And then the square bracket, or just like straight one, this represents the black dot, or like the colored dot. That means it includes the value there. So that means our domain is going to look like this with the curved and then the straight bracket. Now we have to figure out what the x values are. So we're going to take this end, which is negative 2, and we're going to take this end, which is 3. So now we have the curved bracket, negative 2, comma 3, and this square bracket, and that's your answer. Next, number 45. What is the surface area of the sphere with the equation x plus 6 squared plus y minus 8 squared plus z plus 11 squared minus 61 equals 263. Alright, so in a sphere equation, you're going to have your x stuff plus your y stuff plus your z stuff, and it's going to be set equal to a value. That value is your radius squared. So in this case, we have 263 over here. However, even though we have 263, that is not our r squared, because we have a negative 61 over here. We need to bring this negative 61 to the other side. The way we do that is we add 61 to both sides of the equation. So now this becomes x plus 6 squared plus y minus 8 squared plus z plus 11 squared equals 324. So that means that the radius squared is 324. Alright, now how does this help us? Well, the way we use the radius to solve for the surface area of a sphere is we use 4 pi r squared. So in this case, we already have r squared. R squared is 324. So it's just 4 times pi times 324. And we know that pi is equal to 3. So it's just 4 times 3 times 324, which is 3,888. And that's your answer. Next, number 46. In line AC below, AB is equal to x squared minus 2, BC equals 5x minus 2, and AC equals 2x squared plus 6x minus 60. What is the measure of AB? Alright, so in this problem, we have to solve for x and then find the measure of AB. Alright, let's do that. So we have x squared minus 2 is AB, and 5x minus 2 is BC, and 2x squared plus 6x minus 60 is equal to AC. So now what we can see is on this line, AB plus BC is equal to AC, which means if we substitute the values, x squared minus 2 plus 5x minus 2 equals 2x squared plus 6x minus 60. Alright, so now let's simplify this. So x squared minus 2 plus 5x minus 2 becomes x squared plus 5x minus 4 equals 2x squared plus 6x minus 60. Now we're going to simplify this even further. So we can subtract this x squared from both sides to make this x squared by itself. Then 5x, when you subtract it from this side, we also have to subtract it from this side. So we're left with just x. And then negative 4. So to cancel it out, we have to add 4. So we add 4 over here as well. And this becomes minus 56. Alright, so now we have the quadratic equation. X squared plus x minus 56. Now what we need to do is we need to solve for x. So this entire equation is equal to 0. So this is a quadratic equation. So what we can do is we can find two numbers that multiply to negative 56 but add to 1. Why are they adding to 1? Well, that's because that's the coefficient of x. Even though you can't see it, there is a coefficient of 1 there. So what are two numbers that multiply to negative 56 but add to 1? The answer is 8 and negative 7. However, since this is a quadratic equation, it's going to be x equals negative 8 and x equals positive 7. Alright, now that we have the two x values, we can see that only the positive one can work as a length. So we're going to have 7. Now that we know what the x value is, we can substitute the value of x equals 7 into AB, which is x squared minus 2. So 7 squared is 49. 49 minus 2 is 47. So 49 minus 2 is 47. And that's your answer. Alright, next up, number 47. The solution to the system of equation x minus y equals negative 13 and 2x plus y equals negative 2 is a comma b. And the solution to the system of equation 5x minus 4y equals 2 and 3x plus 2y equals 32 is c comma d. Then what is the value of a times c plus b times d? Alright, let's do it. So let's first take this first one. X minus y equals negative 13 and 2x plus y equals negative 2. Alright, so what we can do is we can add these two equations together. So when we do that, we get 3x, and then the negative y and positive y cancel out, and then negative 13 minus 2, which is negative 15. So 3x equals negative 15, which means x equals negative 5. So x is our a value, so that means a equals negative 5. Alright, now to find the y value, let's substitute it back into the equation x minus y equals negative 13. So we know that x is negative 5, which means negative 5 minus y equals negative 13. So y is 8, which means b is 8. Alright, now we have the second one. 5x minus 4y equals 2 and 3x plus 2y equals 32. Now, when we do this, we don't have any common variables. When I mean that, what I'm saying is that negative 4y and 2y, right? For example, even though it's the same variable, the coefficient isn't the same. At least it's not like the same number. It doesn't have to be the same positive or negative, as long as it's the same number. But what we can do is, we can multiply this bottom equation by 2. That makes it 6x plus 4y equals 64. And then we have the top equation, 5x minus 4y equals 2. Now, since these have the same number of 4, even though this one is negative, we can just add these equations together. So this becomes 11x. These two cancel out, and then 64 plus 2 is 66, which means x equals 6, since 11x equals 66. Now we go back to this equation. 5x minus 4y equals 2. So if 5x minus 4y equals 2, that means 5 times 6, which is 30. So 30 minus 4y equals 2. That means 30 minus 28 equals 2 as well. So negative 4y equals negative 28, which means y equals 7. Alright, so y equals 7. So if x is 6 and y is 7, then c is 6 and d is 7. Now we can do the final step, which is AC plus BD. So A is negative 5 and C is 6. So negative 5 times 6 is negative 30. Negative 30 plus B times D. B is 8 and D is 7. So that's 8 times 7, which is 56. Negative 30 plus 56 equals 26. And that's your answer. Next, number 48. Frozen Freddy's ice cream stand offers two different sized ice cream cones. The smaller cones are 4 inches tall with a diameter of 3 inches, and the larger cone is 6 inches tall with a diameter of 4 inches. If pi equals 3, how much larger is the volume of the larger cone than the smaller cone? Alright, the first thing is, what is the formula for the volume of a cone? The formula for volume of a cone is 1/3 of base times height. Alright, so that's pretty easy to find. So let's take the small cone. So we have the small cone, which has the diameter on the base of 3 and the height of 4 on the actual cone. Alright, using this we can solve the volume. So if the diameter is 3, that means the radius is 1.5. Alright, the way we find the base, right, that's the area of the base, is just pi r squared, since it's a circle. So that's just pi times 1.5 squared. Pi is just 3. So it's just 3 times 1.5 squared. 1.5 squared is just 2.25. So 3 times 2.25 is just 6.75. Now that's just our base though. We need to multiply it by the height, which is 4. So 6.75 times 4. That gets us 27. So that means the volume of the small cone is 27. However, we're not done yet because we need to get 1/3 of that, since that's just the base and height. The volume is actually 1/3 of the base and height. So we can divide this by 3 to get 9. Alright, so that means the volume of small cones, I'm going to write V of S, is 9. Alright, next we're going to do the same thing with the larger cone. So it has a height of 6 and a diameter of 4, which means the radius is 2. Since pi is 3, we can write 3 times r squared. We know r is 2, so 2 squared is just 4. So 3 times 4, that equals 12. Next, that's the base value. Now you have to multiply that by the height. So 12 times 6, that equals 72. Alright, now what we have to do is we need to get 1/3 of that. 1/3 of 72 is just 24, because 72 divided by 3 is 24. Alright, now we have the volume of the small cone, which is 9, and the volume of the big cone, which is 24. So now all we have to do is 24 minus 9, which is 15, and that's your answer. Alright, next, number 49. What is the value of the y-intercept of the graph of the quadratic equation y is equal to negative 7 times x plus 2 squared minus 8? Alright, the y-intercept is just on the graph when the x equals 0, or the dot is on the x-axis. That means we can substitute the value of 0 for x to solve for the y-intercept. So let's do that. So this del equation becomes y equals negative 7 times 0 plus 2 squared minus 8. 0 plus 2 is just 2. 2 squared is just 4. Negative 7 times 4 is negative 28. Negative 28 minus 8 is negative 36, which means the y-intercept is negative 36, and that's your answer. Alright, number 50. If m plus 1 over m equals 18, Then what is the value of 2m squared plus 2 over m squared? Alright, so what we can see is that m plus 1 over m, and we're trying to get it to 2m squared plus 2 over m squared. And we know that m plus 1 over m, this is equal to 18. And we're trying to find what this is equal to. Alright, so the first step in solving this is we have to take this equation, which is m plus 1 over m equals 18. And we have to square it. However, we can't just square one side of the equation. We have to square both sides. So this is 18 squared, and this is m plus 1 over m squared. Now, the thing that we can realize here is that m plus 1 over m is in the format of a plus b to the whole square. A plus b to the whole square is equal to a squared plus b squared plus 2ab. So when we do m plus 1 over m squared, we're going to get m squared plus 1 over m squared plus m times m, which is m over m, times 2. M over m is just going to be 1, and 1 times 2 is just 2. So now we have m squared plus 1 over m squared plus 2 equals, and then we have 18 squared. 18 squared is 324. So that equals 324. Alright, now the next step is we have to take this 2 and subtract it. So we get negative 2, and we subtract 2 from this side as well. So now we've canceled out this 2, and now we just have m squared plus 1 over m squared equals 322. Now the last step is to make it equal to this 2m squared plus 2 over m squared equation, we have to multiply this entire thing by 2. When we do that, we get this value over here to be 644. And that's your answer. Alright, that's it. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please make sure to show your support. These videos take a lot of effort to make, and I would really appreciate it.